My name is Docia Rudley. I'm Executive Director of Assessment at Thurgood Marshall School of Law. I'm here today with my colleague, Professor Cassandra Hill, and we'd like to talk about 3 program assessments that are currently part of our law school assessment plan. These assessments are in the areas of writing, critical thinking, and client interviewing. In each case, the assessments rely heavily on faculty collaborations and partnerships with practitioners to evaluate student performance. We believe that these collaborations are helping us keep the focus of outcomes assessment on student learning and preparing students for the profession as we work to meet regional and national accreditation requirements. Our strategic planning process created an opportunity to discuss our goals for student development and to formalize how we would reach these goals over a 5-year period. Assessment was a part of this dialogue, and in the strategic plan, we reaffirmed our commitment to both classroom and institutional assessment. We developed an assessment plan which we believe helps to bring coherence to our efforts to assess student learning. The plan keeps us on track by helping us remember why we're collecting certain data on student learning and what we hope to discover by collecting the data. It also prompts us to think about what we might do with the information we're gathering. The projects that we're going to discuss make use of multiple assessment methods. We use course-embedded assessment involving a lawyering process writing project, standardized testing in the form of multi-state performance test, and a performance-based assessment which consisted of a simulated client interview.
So we assessed our students' writing abilities at an institutional level by conducting a review of the students' performance on a client letter exercise and lawyering process. And because our first-year legal writing course is a unified program, this particular client letter exercise was used in all the sections. We made sure the client letter exercise aligned with our course level objectives as well as the institutional learning objectives. This slide shows some of those, like the development of analogical reasoning and synthesis skills. In terms of the assessment project, we then gave copies of our graded client letter exercise to the assessment office. And the letters were then given to select practitioners who scored those client letters using a common rubric. The lawyering process professors actually selected anchor papers that gave the practitioners a better sense of our community grading norms. So here's a rubric that the practitioners used. The categories were legal and fact analysis, as well as formatting and organization. They could score between a 1 and a 5, with 5 being a high level of competency and 1 being limited. Our target for that exercise was a mean score of 3. Now, in addition to their scores, they gave us some general impressions about the students' performance. Overall, the students performed well in the client letter exercise, but the results confirmed some things that we noticed about their areas of weakness. Here's a group photo of some of my fellow lawyering process colleagues, two of whom actually gave an informal roundtable discussion to the other faculty about how to best target and address those weak areas.
The second project, also part of our assessment plan, involved the use of multi-state performance tests to assess the students' abilities to accurately synthesize, formulate, and apply principles of law to resolve a legal issue. The test consists of a file in a library with instructions for the students to prepare a legal document. We administered the MPTs in the 1L year during their lawyering process courses, in the 2L year in all of the business associations courses, and in the 3L year in one of our capstone courses called Texas Practice. We found it more helpful to connect the assessment with a course. We also, again, enlisted the help of practitioners to grade the exam. Graders gave an overall score based on a rubric adapted from the National Conference of Bar Examiners to evaluate students on a scale of 1 to 5. Graders also used 2 additional rubrics that provided more nuanced feedback. Whenever possible, the graders conducted feedback sessions during which the students reviewed their papers and asked questions. They also gave us their feedback during focus group sessions like this one. They shared their thoughts about the usefulness of this assessment and helped us to resolve logistical issues in test administration. I think it's helpful to look at the project in terms of an assessment cycle from broad goal to learning outcome, to deciding who we will assess, to generating data and deciding how best to use it. The group data that we generate through this process becomes part of our assessment plan. The third assessment involved evaluating our students during a simulated client interview. The simulations were conducted over 2 weekends during spring semester and involved all of our clinical students. We enlisted the support of over 20 practitioners and some members of our clinical faculty to assess the students' performance. Members of the clinical faculty collaborated with the Office of Assessment to develop this problem and the scoring rubric. The rubric assessed the students on a range of criteria associated with effective interviewing, including, for example, how well they oriented the client to the relationship. Students generally performed well on the assessment, although practitioners emphasized the need for some students to work on making the connection between the development of facts through questioning and their legal theory of the case. The sessions were videotaped, and students appreciated the feedback. Faculty collaborations are helping us gain a better understanding of competence. Deconstructing it, learning more about how to develop and measure it, and developing rubrics has been especially helpful here. Collaborations are also helping us create synergy around the issue of student learning and ultimately program assessment. Collaborations with practitioners are valuable because of the feedback. Students appreciate the opportunities to interface with attorneys, particularly with respect to their academic performance. And these collaborations are helping us to expand our thinking about what students need to be successful in a 21st century law practice.